Hey guys, okay, so today I have got the under eye concealer in the shade Light Medium from Winky Lux. This is called Peeper Perfect or Peeper Perfect. I'm not sure which one. Either way, we're trying it today. Oh, did that rhyme? It did. Okay, so, this is really dark. This might be too dark. We'll see. As you can see, I've got a ton of hyperpigmentation, but I've also have a lot of color now that I came back and was tan from my vacation. So I still have that color hanging on, and so we'll just see if this works. I have not tried a single product from Winky Lux. I got this at Target, and I want to say it was $16. $16 for this much concealer. There's probably about, let's just check, 0.33 fluid ounces, which is a decent amount of product. Like your regular tube size of concealer is going to have about 0.2. This one is an Essence one, and it has 0.16. This one is an I Love Revolution, and it is 0.4, which is a lot for a just standard concealer. Like your standard concealer that you're going to find in your regular non-makeup store is going to be this size, which is about, again, this is 0.15, so 0.15, and then this one is 0.18. So 0.2 is about average for just your regular concealer, one that's not trying to be like a large container. Like obviously a large container, just to give you a bit of a, large containers is going to have more. This is a Revolution one, Makeup Revolution, and it has, let's see if I can find it, 0.3 fluid ounces. So this one is, what did I say, 0.33. So honestly, like this container looks huge, but this one actually has more product, so it can be deceiving. Anyway, let's just stop talking about that and see how this looks. Now, I've never tried anything from Winky Lux, but their packaging is just so beautiful. This is the package for the concealer. This is the package for the powder foundation, and they had a couple of cream blushes that were actually in the shape of a rose. They were so pretty, but I just couldn't bring myself to pick one up because I think they were like $22 for one cream blush, and I was like, I just can't do it. It was just too much money. So I want to say this is a Korean brand, and this is the shade. And let me go ahead and do just a shade comparison. And again, this one is in the shade Light Medium. So I'm just going to give you a shade comparison. This is a typical shade that I would get for my skin tone. It's something like this. This is from AOA Studio, and it is the shade Fair Ivory. That you have to order online, but it's from like the Shop Miss A $1 makeup website or app, as the case may be. This is the Wet n Wild Mega Last Incognito, so a bit more readily available. And this is in the shade Light Beige. And then I'll give you a swatch from the Morphe. This has been my favorite for a very long time. This is the Fluidity Concealer. I think it is in the shade C1.65. Okay, so this is the Wet n Wild one. It's got a bit more pink in it. This is the Morphe one. It's a bit more orangey. And then the AOA one is a bit more yellow. So there's all these different undertones that you can get. Now this, unfortunately, a lot of times they don't tell you like what the undertone is. They just give you a generic light medium, and then you're supposed to figure it out from there. But this is the one we're trying today, which is the Winky Lux in the shade Light Medium. This one seems more gel-like, a bit more sticky, but not in a bad way. These are much more creamy, I guess you would say. This one's a bit more creamy than these. These feel much thinner, these two, and these are the more readily available. This is the Morphe one, and this is the Wet n Wild one. Again, I want to say $16. Yeah, 16 bucks for this, so it's got a lot to live up to for $16. So let's just get some on and we'll see what happens. I'm just going to start out with my finger. I've got a couple of concealer brushes, and all I am is freshly moisturized. There's no sort of primer or anything. Nothing like that. Oh, and that's looking really good. Now because my natural skin tone is white, like way white. But because I have so much hyperpigmentation, I never get a concealer that is the same shade as my foundation or my skin. I get a concealer that can serve to color correct and conceal at the same time. That is looking very nice. As you can see, like the difference, I've got all this brown hyperpigmentation that just really evened it out, and it would make an excellent like no makeup kind of makeup look if I just wanted to cancel out some of this just to make me look more awake, more alive. And even for me, I could just conceal this area, maybe you know, a couple other parts around my face, and then the hyperpigmentation that you see right here could, you know, kind of serve as almost like an eyeshadow look. So it can look like I did more to my skin when I really don't have to, and I'm using my flaws to my benefit. And I might do a video just doing that, although that's basically all it is. It would be like, it would I don't know, I feel like it would be a little bit of a waste of a video if I did a whole video just showing you what I just showed you. Anyway, if you guys are interested in that, I may just do it anyway. Using your flaws to your benefit. Now it is a little bit shiny, so it's going to kind of emphasize this bit of a bag that I've got going on right there. I'm going to put a tiny bit more just right in that area. It's not going to help, I don't think, to really conceal it, because that's more of a shadow than it is hyperpigmentation. And you'll need probably, yeah, you can still kind of see it. You'll probably need, if you have that, which I do obviously, you'll need a lighter shade. Whoops, I think I put a little bit too much. I'm going to take a little bit of that off. I just wanted to kind of do another layer of it, just to see, but I don't want that much, how much more coverage we can get. And honestly, from my face to the mirror viewfinder, it's just looking better and better with the second layer. It's very, I don't know, gel-like. I'm not sure. It's just very moisture-y feeling. It's not feeling dry, and it's not looking dry or crusty or chalky. It's just looking really very just moisture rich and very dewy, of course. I think I'll put a little bit just around my nose, and I wish I would have left, I wiped all that off. I wish I would have left it on to see if it oxidized, because it looks like it might be oxidizing just a tad. I'm just going to put a little bit around my nose, and then we'll just see what that does. All right. Yeah, I feel like it may have oxidized a little bit. And this would be too dark, I think, for me to, even on my darker skin tone that I'm having right now, to try and use that as a face concealer. But under the eyes, it's looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and just wipe that off. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit out on my hand. We'll go ahead and conceal the other eye just so we can get the full effect. And then we'll also just check the oxidization, which I do feel like it did. So I'm just putting a little bit, maybe I'll put a little bit more. I can't return this because there's not a Target in my area, so just got to eat the cost of that. But so far it's seeming like it's a decent product. Okay, so we're just going to have that out like that. Do the other eye, and then we will. I'm not going to put it up over my eyelid because I'm just probably going to wear this just like this with nothing else on my skin at all. And sometimes if I have concealer on my eyelid or foundation or anything really, it can crease, even if I use a primer and all that. A little bit more, a little bit extra on my finger there. I do feel like that oxidized though, but we'll know for sure in just a second. I'll do a test. Okay, so I think that's fine. Like if you're looking for a no makeup kind of look, if you're looking for like color correcting, and I've said this before in the past, but if you're new here, you don't have to get a color corrector. Like I have a few, this one is a color corrector, and this one is pretty new to the scene. This one also is a color corrector, but if you just get a regular concealer that's this color, and I'll go ahead and just give you a swatch just so we can kind of have a comparison. The first one is the Winky Luxe. Second one down is the Flower Beauty color corrector. And then the third one down is going to be the Milani Supercharged Brightening Under Eye Tint, which is also a color corrector. So they say. Okay, so this is the Winky Luxe, this is the Flower Beauty, and then this is the Milani one. So if you just get a concealer that is similar in shade undertone to these two, then it can serve as a concealer and a color corrector all in one product. This flower one looked nice, but the consistency of this is a tiny bit chalky, as you can see, and this one is much more dewy and smooth looking. And then this Milani one was virtually undetectable under my eyes. It didn't do anything. Like, there was no real pigment. Once you blended it out, like, this is how it started, but by the end of it, there was no real pigment. So I do use this sometimes to thin out like other concealers and make them look more natural, less chalky on my under eyes. So, but this one, which we're looking at today, and I'll go ahead and do the test for the oxidization, and yep, it did darken. Well, so here's it sitting on my hand for a few minutes, and that's how it is when it's first applied. So it did darken. For me, that's not much of a big deal because I need that darker tone to sort of color correct the under eyes. But if you're looking for like a face concealer, you're not going to want it to darken. And if you just have normal under eye stuff that anybody might have, you're not going to want it to darken. Unless you do want it to darken, then you'll want it to darken. Most people don't want that. So that is something that did happen. And so for me, again, this is that's not a deal breaker for this product for me. It actually looks really nice on my skin right now. And let me grab an up close look, and then I will skedaddle if I can find a mirror. There we go. You can see it a little bit right here. That's my fault for not blending it well. I mean, you know, you'll be able to tell that I'm wearing something on my skin if you're looking real close. But that's just because of the amount of hyperpigmentation that I have around my eyes. Like, no matter what I put on, you're going to be able to see it, especially if you're trying to cover the darkness. So, but does it look bad? No, not at all. It's actually looking really nice. It looks very natural. It's very shiny, so if you don't want shiny, which I don't normally care for, and if I was just using it in my everyday life, I would powder this because I always want this under eyes to be a little bit less light reflective because it makes the bags look less pronounced. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to thumbs up, like, subscribe, ding my bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll update all my thoughts in the description. So thank you so much.